All right, we are looking at rounding decimals. And there's really two ways that we're going to be rounding decimals. One way is way, way easier than the other way. But don't worry, I will show you both ways, so you'll have both ways in front of you. We're going to round this number right here to the nearest 10th place. Which number is in the 10th place? Anybody remember from the problem of the day? Luke? The 7 is in the 10th place. Excellent. So we're going to round it to that number right there. Here's the first way to do that. We can use a number line. So we've got a number line right here that's 34.0, 34.1, 34.2. We need to go all the way up to 34.7. So 34.7 is right here, and it's just a little bit past 34.7. So when we have to round it to the nearest 10th place, we're just going to circle the number that decimal, or that little point is closest to, just 34.7. That's one way that we can do this. The other way to round is to underline. So you find the place to which we want to round. We want to round to the nearest 10th place, so it's that 7 right there. Then we look at the digit to the right. If the digit is less than 5, round down. If the digit is 5 or greater, round up. So in your notes, you should underline those. So we're rounding to the 10th place, which is right there at that 7. We're going to look one number to the right. What is the number 1 to the right? Good, it's a 2. So if I'm rounding, am I going to round that up or am I going to round that down? I'm going to round it down. Good. So I'm going to round it down. When I round that down, it becomes 0. So that becomes 34 point, and then that 7 stays the same, 0. Am I going to include the 5 in there? That 5, should I put the 5 on there? No, because I'm rounding to the 10th place, which is that one. I'm only interested in the numbers to the 10th place. I don't care about anything past that. So then there's our final answer, that 34.7. I like the underlining way much better. You don't have to worry about the number line. You don't have to worry about what numbers to put on the number line. You don't have to worry about the spacing of the number line. You should be able to use a number line, but I think most of the time you're just going to underline. Let's go through these 3 examples of the number line method. So we have to round to the nearest 10th. So we've got the number 7.82. So we have to put 7.82 on our line. So 7.8, here's 7.0, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, 6, 7, 7.8. Is it going to be closer to 7.8 or 7 point, let's go to 9, I think. Is it going to be closer to 7.8 or 7.9? Dayton? Yeah. What number is going to be right in between 7.8 and 7.9? Kind of a trick question. What number is going to go right there halfway in between them? Keaton?
5.
So it'll be 7.85. Perfect. That number is right there in between them. 7.82 is less than 7.85, so it'll be right around there. So that means when we round it, it'll be right there. Our next one, we've got 0.39. So this is 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. Is it going to be past 0.35? It's almost going to be at 0.4, so it'll be right in there. So when we round it, it'll be right there at 4/10. Our next number line, we've got 5.071. Here's 5.0. Remember, halfway here is going to be 5.05. Is it going to be past 5.05? Yeah, it's going to be past 5.05. So it'll put it right in this area here, which means it'll be 5.1. Again, you're probably not going to be using the number line a lot. It's good to know how it works, in case you see it. But most of the time when I ask you to round, I'm going to ask you to do it the easy way, which is this way right here. Take a look at number 4. So in number 4, you've got 6.32. The underlying digit is the 3 right here. That's the tens place. We're going to look one number to the right. Are we going to round it up or are we going to round it down? Justin?
Down.
We're going to round it down. So that 2 becomes a 0, which makes it 6.3. That's it. Now, what if you wrote 6.30? Is that still okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still okay. Sure, you can write that. Look at the next one, number 5. We're rounding to the underlying number, which is a 7. Look one to the right. Are we rounding down or are we rounding up? We're rounding down again, good. So that 2 becomes a 0, and we're going to have 0.47 because we rounded down. We don't mess with the 7. And can we put a 0 there if we want it?
Yeah.
Do we have to?
No.
Do we do anything with that 1? Remember, when we're rounding to the underlying digit, that's the only one we're worried about. We're not worried about anything past that. So that's our final answer. We don't care about that 1. Number 6, 26.444. Our underlying in our tens place, we look one to the right. Are we rounding up or down? Randy?
Down.
Yeah, we're rounding down again. So this becomes 26 point, and we're rounding that down to a 0, so that does not change the 4. So that stays a 4, and then we do not write anything past what we underline. And number 7, we got our tens place right here. Look one to the right. Are we rounding up or are we rounding down? Justin? Yeah, we're finally rounding up. So that 6, when we round it up, becomes a 10, which means that we make that a 10, which means the 6 still becomes a 0, kind of weird. But it rounds up, which is going to make that 1 go to this next column, which will make it a 2, because you do 1 and 1 to make it 2. Let's look at a few more examples. Number 8. You've got this number right here. You're going to look one to the right. We rounding up or down, class? Up. Yeah, we're going to round that up. So we copy down everything in front of the decimal. And because we're rounding it up, that 6 becomes a 10, makes that a 0, and then makes that 1 higher, so that 4 becomes a 5. And that's your answer. Number 9 right there next to it. We look one to the right. It's a 3. Are we rounding up or down, class? Down. We're going to round it down. So the 3 becomes a 0, and it leaves everything else the same. Here's your answer.